We have a new moon on the 20th of February at the heart's degree. What does your intuitive, unconditional love heart sense? This is all inside of us, the inner realms, the realms of spirit at the door, the crown, usually prophetic visions, being sensitive to our surroundings, perceptive as well. You may experience feelings of insecurity, maybe a little passive, to only wait and see. So if you were to engage in your creative or spiritual questionnaire, you may also benefit from the imaginal realm of Pisces, those two doors. But this new moon is happening at the midnight hour in my village, 12:05 a.m. Mountain. So that would be approximately 2:05 a.m. Eastern, 1:05 Central, again, 12:05 a.m. Mountain, and February 19th, 11:05 p.m. Pacific. But go ahead and check your timeline as it may be off grid. That does happen. But the Musing with Tonya D podcast is off.
Ooh, inshallah and ashe. And yes, it is off and out the gates. Blessings to you, my energetic beings. It is a Valentine's Day. I'm all pinky. So is my little talented Tuesday up there. So while we're waiting for people to hop on to join into the live stream or watch the show, listen to the replay, taking a breath and a pause, climbing into our skin. We're doing great. Happy, love your heart more today so you attract your equal sensory self, possibly a soulmate. I don't know. Just excelling through the I am of who we are, our Sira, what we look like on the other side, by the way, our higher self, is requesting a more compassionate frequency, a response to our past, letting go, forgiving all of those feelings that have already been, to be replaced by a feeling that gives us those goosebumps in order to guarantee a future of a higher excelling vibration. And I'm going to get into the goosebumps. Releasing and forgiving are really two main ingredients in this frequency energy today. The level of spiritual faith that we have in our streams are going to allow us to elevate the force holding the oath of this faith is the energy of Mars moving to the 14th degree in the season of the mind, Gemini, stirring my cosmic soup, just saying that, aligned with integrity, actually, which is important, despite all of the things that are going on around us, even out in the world. If you're listening here, you are ascending, you're excelling the fields to actually gravitate to that higher essence of being. It's fantastic idea to focus on aligning with this spiritual truth in alignment with our heart's integrity. Often it's messy at times, right? Sometimes it's challenging, even problematic. That's kind of what Dilbert says, problematic, even emotional. So all of these experiences are valid, even organic. Sometimes they're even more natural. And humanity has been filtering through these, this for an eternity, since the Dark Ages, actually. So if you are tuning into my channel, part of my small little tribe, my village, you too have felt something in your soul, to your bones, that has actually brought you to this time in this space. It's the earth. The earth is cracking, quaking, ascending as well, because we're escalating into the age of frequency, energy, vibration. And I did a meditation yesterday in my group and for a soul support package person, soul support coaching. So to just open us up to the highest excelling energy vibration possible. So just opening the core of our heart, calling in our higher self, our guides, our guardians, our gatekeepers, source, angels, beings in the unseen or the seen. I tend to have a cat village at the moment and some big dog and a little dog, the fairy dog, Diddy, of course. Just opening up our fields, all the auric fields, cleansing them, creating a toroidal field, if you will, with the universal streams, personal streams, scalar waves, absolute light, singers of the rainbow, bliss, colors that are so effervescent, magical in the field of imagination that are excelling beyond our heart space, the physical into the spiritual heart, really choreographing that. So this is the authenticity of our beingness, our essence, just feeling grounded, so that our light excels our field with the codes of the source, the love codes of the divine. You can't make this shift up. So as far out as we can, and then slowly returning all of those bodies, the subtle bodies, the energetic bodies, the physical with cleansed frequencies. So we're kind of literally to our organic, natural frequency, if you will. So all these streams are kind of vacuumed into the heart, like a void, a black hole, not a bad one, by the way, just knowing that we have excelled, love incarnated within our gift and our purpose. So any false evidence affecting our reality today is going to be revealed for us. And the expressing or the processing with our communication could also be a revealing ways of how we speak to ourselves that are no longer soul surviving is what I kept coming to. Just return all that back to sender, take a breath and a pause, and have external or internal faith, possibly both, whatever that is for you. It's here to remind us that the journey remains, being that it's a coined love day. Channel the power of love in this vibration with these swirling streams of a juicy heart, if you will. And remember that ultimately the key is to love thyself first and then share that love out into the garden. This really reminds me of the energy of our month, which I'll get to, the young tiger, the young tiger. So with that, welcome to today's Daily Snippet. Once again, I am your host. I'm a practicing holistic shaman, medium, an otherworldly life coach, and a subtle energetic surgeon. I do go by the term holistic shaman medium, which is just a choreography of them all, coined by my friend Rich in Mongolia. But my intention is to utilize the indigenous technologies along with the elemental realms, the imaginal realms. Just so much stuff happening there. Really navigating our soul's harmonic through these realms, our divine organic blueprint, which is online always, actually, really, into these realms, just dimensions and so much more, portals, gateways. Again, all this stuff is activated today with offerings, prescriptions, and rituals to really add to your own personal juice, your container, the sauce that you are, the magical being that I believe resides within each and every one of us. Ritual is actually food for the soul. It activates our personal medicine, our gift, and our purpose to really get us out of our own magical way so our light shines even brighter. My name is Tonya D, and welcome to my virtual medicine room. Isn't it amazing how we're all virtual now? And if you could get to subscribe to my channel, please do. YouTube or otherwise, Musing with Tonya D, my podcast, which the season of the witches has really been inspiring, really. Have you been feeling your energy, your vibration kind of excelling and activating since the beginning of the Aquarius season? I almost said the beginning of the year, but it wasn't quite then. So this is like a escalator taking us to the heavenly universe, if you will. It feels a little eccentric. It's an energy of magic that we all are, along with our unique divine blueprint, a thumbprint. It's our I am present. I believe it's unique and individual to each and every one of us. That's our own divine magic, if you will. So we all have this. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I do have an online offering called Change Your Stars. And I cover so much more than just this. It's galactic juicy if your soul is calling out for that. And I always like to give a shout out to the new peeps that are entering the village, the community, a voice of acknowledgement and validation that I see you and I hear you. And also I always like to give a shout out, acknowledgement to people who have joined my show since the beginning of my tidal wave adventure here. But of course, you can also find me on other channels, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. And it really does take a village, a tribe to get things rolling. And my intention for February was actually to get my subscriber list to 400. I know that doesn't sound like much, but there's a lot of insight and information with that. And yeah, thanks for tuning in to me live or the replay. And if you don't mind, of course, hitting the white rabbit, the button, so you're notified when I do go live on my channels or just being a part of my show. I'm kind of multi-streaming today. And just remember a comment. If you feel you need a message for your day, another way of paying it forward is just a gratitude and a blessing, sharing, right? So with all of that, we are in for a magical day. Just remember, I am your otherworldly shamanic assistant. You truly are your own healer, but sometimes we get in our own magical way and we need somebody else to shed light upon our perspectives, myself included, to get us out of our own way so we can like shine our light so much brighter. The daily snippet, what's this all about? Well, it's the cosmic insight, the planets, the elemental galaxy, if you will, along with the elementals and the four pillars of this dimension, the subtle energies, different energy centers that are activated at different timelines, the channels, our pathways, even our auric fields, which I did that dusting for, along with a message for our day. So the season of Aquarius, hopefully you're feeling this eclectic energy, feeling your feels, if you will. It's optimistic, it's eccentric, it's innovating, it's revolutionary, possibly giving us all a wake-up call or an energetic tune-up, actually, is kind of what I'm sensing. So there's lots of mystical, magical things that have been happening for us if we're hyper-gated aware, just streaming full speed ahead, beyond the beyond. So why do I love the energy of the day? Well, part of my design, my emotional foundation. So this is one of the highest spiritual energies in any given year. So this frequency, this energy, this vibration, you may experience a stream of consciousness, a webbing, a fabric that seems timeless, foreign, unwavering, maybe a little disorientating, kind of like a little weebles wobbly. So if you feel out of your body today, which may happen, just focus your energy going inward to the core, connecting to your vessel, the physical body. Breathing is important. Nature, great things in nature, just connecting to the core, the star that we are. So it's a moment of connecting with these ideas of what ascension even is, with spirituality, the energies, right? Along with our higher excelling kind of consciousness, kind of bringing that in. So when we excel from a panoramic view, an earthly view, into the heavenly realm, to the heavenly universe, these frequencies of love, along with the joy molecules, spark. So spiritual ascension refers to higher dimensions, realms of heaven, journeying through the planes, going from great to fantastic, I might add, moving between these dimensions. So being in this moment, you may literally experience all of these realms, the fourth, the fifth, the love and the joy of this higher earthly realm, just connecting possibly vibrationally to otherworldly magic. I would say UFOs being in those realms, even beings through these intuitive gifts, psychic activities, and just invocation, speaking our spiritual truths. So if you could meditate, be in a place of silence, the sound of silence, which I love that song, and to see whom or what you are connecting with, or to whom, a new guardian, a new gatekeeper, endless possibilities. Perhaps you come to an excelling pinnacle in your stage of life. You're gravitating through the force fields, if you will. A goal, maybe you achieved a goal, and then you have the self-realization that you've already achieved one and you're moving to another. It may just be a spiritual turning point, a toss of a coin, if you will, even a crossroads for you, a miracle, the miraculous, just experiencing that by or through some sort of spiritual awakening. So just be mindful of your feelings as you too connect to your intuition from that space, that place, and explore what comes to you and for you. Things come to us, for us, from those higher realms, dimensions, places, vibrations, sparking. Kind of gives you goosebumps, or I hope so. Just a few announcements. The replays for the Rising of the Origins are up until Friday, I believe. They're available for you to chime in up until then. So you can hop on to the portal and get some goodies. There's still time for that. The Inner Smile is probably, that and the Buttercup meditation are two of, I guess, the most instigated or inspired meditations I have. And if you do opt in for Change Your Stars, that's going to be happening in forever time in your portal. And I do have the Change Your Stars gift happening, so be sure to check that. It's only up for 24 hours. I also have a new podcast out, Dr. Howard Eisenberg, Dream It to Do It, which I love. And in August of this year, if you're interested in an adventure, one that's not really a luxury getaway, by the way, The Magic in the Mongolian Mountains, all these M's, happening in August, arriving August 7th, I believe. Be there for the Lion's Gate. How magical is that? So be sure to jump in, as that space is also limited for a few galactic people. And I do have the Musing moon meditation coming up on the highway, the new moon, which is exciting. But for today on the elemental highway, what do I got happening? Oh boy. You'll notice our day is the same as the year. Yin Water Rabbit. So it's the same expression. So we're producing, two rabbits producing, lots of birthing anew, yin water, yin wood. So this is our inner world, yin in nature, yin qualities, intuition, full of insight, curiosities, likes to find the clues, the answers, diving in deep. But that's our performance, all that rabbit energy, all that wood energy. It's performance. It's done with grace. It's done with kindness. We might have some competition actually triggered because the month energy kind of depletes our day's energy. It's very yang energy and the spirit of how we perform our creativity. We do have a friend in our ancestor realm there, the yin water, but the elemental configuration, the score, we literally have 0 metal, different than yesterday, as we have a combo of hidden yang fire yesterday and big mountains, a big mountain range, but today we don't have that. We only have a little bit of sun sparking and creating the earth, the big mountain there. So it's kind of, it feels more of an inward journey today. But we do need mineral, community, communication, storytelling. This might be the voice inside of us. Decision making, laws, justice, courts. Kind of feels a little bit like Libra in that sense. But we do need metal to do some pruning of all that yang wood energy. Call in an arborist. Our intuition is online. Peace is online. Kindness is online. The release of love, the joy, the happiness. Bring in some courage. That's also metal frequency energy. Sir Lancelot, King Arthur, Lagatha, right? Female warriors. I could bring that in. I love that. Metal's also a resource, a mentor, a teacher, a parent for our day. The yin water. And again, metal to trim, to give guidance, to prune our performance. So it's tidying up, I guess. It's like a bonsai tree. The hour of the dragon, once again, we do have in eastern direction, which is wealth coming towards us. I would say we do need a little fire too. We do have some there, but for sure metal. The flying star of the day. Oh boy, you're going to love this one. It's the star of violence. I wasn't almost going to do it. However, I just said I would. And I know it's Valentine's, but whatever. The flying star 7, it's yin metal energy. This star of conflict, quarrels, theft, loss. I think you can see it says loss on there. Unfair competition, accidents, stuff like that. This star is flying to the northeast. It's the palace of the star 8 in the basic foundation, I guess, the low shoe. But this area, we shouldn't activate it either, just like the other stars I've been talking about. It needs to kind of be avoided as much as possible. Avoid using or sitting more than 2 hours long in this area as well. And to reduce the negative influence of it in this area, the star of violence, use yin water. So what does that look like? Just get a vase of water, hopefully a blue vase. A blue vase. Yeah, blue. Nope. Yep, blue. Blue vase of water, and refresh the vase of water at least once a month, possibly once a week, and avoid any metal decorations. I'm just amusing that in this particular room in my house, I do have the walls painted blue, so that kind of tones down this negative energy. But being that we have this otherworldly energy of dimensions and planes and realms happening for us today, just see if you have the ability to bring on the goosebumps by yourself, calling them in. It's called the erector pili muscle, and it usually is contracted during all the winter months, all on its own, due to the weather to keep the body warm on the inside. That's why hair seems to grow slower in the winter months, is because this muscle is contracted, it's activated to hold in our body's heat. But it's also a spiritual connector tool, which is curious. So when we get those goosebumps, we're actually connecting to a being of spirit in nature, an ancestor, an angel, source, guardians, gatekeepers, etc. It's like the secret sauce. So today, see if you can call in spirit at will and notice if you have goosebumps organically as you connect, because it's part of our spiritual antenna that we all have, connecting to the higher realms and recognizing that all the progress that we've made over the past year, the spiritual progress, it's a spiritual acumen in the Dagara, in my cowrie shell divinations, just know that at the very least, these spiritual progresses, they serve to be a turning point in our spiritual realms. So the spirit objectives of this upcoming year, what's the growth aspect there in the spiritual realms? So maybe you have your own self kind of realization percolating that's going from literally from great to fantastic. So it's time to aspire to those galactic heights in our own personal streams as we become the spirit, the gift, and the purpose of our soul's personal development, what that looks like for each and every one of us. So this adds to the main ingredient, the purpose of our heart incarnate, if you will. So maybe I would say, may the force be with you. It feels kind of Yoda-like. The source be with you even. Gives you goosebumps. And just knowing that the Great Spirit is connecting. Knowing that we're all connected on this heart-flowing physical world kind of energetic kind of a day. So I would literally place my left hand on my heart and take an oath to love thyself more. That is like a sacred space. And just knowing that you are spirit, an energy being going through different channels of spiritual growth. Just be grateful. See how far you've come and allow the other to just flow away on this intuitive, spiritual kind of day. I'm actually going to bring in the Fae today. We have a variety. I didn't let anyone choose. I was going to just pick one card, but 3 flew out. So what do? You just bring them all in. So first up, we have the Pook, a sacred space, trusting what we can come up with and accept. That's the 60. But the Pook is part of the fairy challengers, but these are the ones that challenge us to really face our fears, the delusion, confusion, the inner traumas. They test us in ways that are more of an initiation, more than tests. They test us on tests that they know that we can pass. But the Pook is a shape changer, the good and the bad and the good. It's a paradox. It's a resolution. And he appears in whatever guise he thinks is going to be most confusing to us, depending on his purpose for the day. Sorry, I'm having some coffee. And it's almost 11:11, which is great. So depending on the confusion for our day. So he weaves spells to bemuse our senses, confuse our judgment, which is great. So he's the master of the art of illusion, delusion, and holding up a distorting mirror to reveal the bad and the good and the bad. The mirror's distortion. It reminds me of distorted shapes, actually. But he wishes to show us the bad and what we think to be good and vice versa, the opposing dualities and the forces. So in doing so, this might even confuse us further, or it might help us to gain more balance and understanding of how things really authentically are. So he is very against rigid mindsets. That's why I love to stay curious and question everything. And in his own way, he's encouraging us the development of that inquiring mind. Inquiring minds want to know, question everything. I just watched a podcast with that Rich Dad, Poor Dad guy, and he kind of says the same thing. So I kind of liked that. So he assumes many faces. He offers us contradictions, paradoxes, finding it all way too easy to confuse our judgment because we are often not thinking very clearly anyway. Sometimes we even hold 2 or more contradictory beliefs in boxes in our minds. I say shelf those, but if one is true, we then think we finally consider them, then the other must be false, which is kind of a choreography, right? Perhaps maybe both are false, maybe both are partly true and partly false. So we've got options always. And we tend often to cling desperately to our beliefs. Again, question everything, stay curious. Even when they do make no sense to others or they're counterintuitive to our actual experiences. So these paradoxes, confusions are really kind of sometimes self-created. And the Pook, all he needs to do is dress them up just a little bit, making them sparkle and dangle them before us in order to induce more confusion. Isn't he great? But in this confusion, this is when we're likely to believe almost anything someone presents us with, just to feel as if we have this metaphorical anchor in reality. So his challenge is for us to actually wake up, do the wake up call. And we're in the season of waking up, to stop projecting our confusions on our reality or others. And once we have seen the truth, spiritual truths actually, seeming contradictions, paradoxes, all that just kind of dissipates and melts away. So it's a matter of having self-realizing and the solution, like a Zen, clapping your one hand in the air and see the sound of the air. So when we get the answer, usually by a burst of insight, cutting through the confusion, the paradoxes, all the things, it always seems so simple. And we wonder how we could have been in such a tizzy about one little simple thing. And we wonder why everybody doesn't understand this so very obviously. So it is about being curious, but being that he's shown up otherworldly, so that's curious. So there is a paradox that we're unable to resolve in this moment in space and time. And just recognizing the paradox really helps us to move closer to the solution for it. It's otherworldly. But the information or the experience we need to resolve it, it's not yet available to us. So the trick here is to avoid becoming bogged down by this information, this insight. We really need to get on with other aspects of our lives while at the same time acknowledging the difficulty here in the moment. So if possible, we really need to kind of postpone any discussions and then just take a breath, a pause, and kind of relax about it, knowing that the insight's going to come. It's not here yet. We don't want to rush it. In fact, often when we try to rush things, it usually only causes us to become more deeply mired in the confusion, the mental muddle of the mind. So just relax and wait, take a breath, take a pause, and just stay alert. It's kind of like our alert signal, if you will. So following the pook, which I'm stoked about, we did get a singer. I'm so excited, a singer in the house. I love it when the singers show up. But this is the singer of healing, the 10. That's trusting and loving. When we trust and love, we manifest. I love that this card showed up today. Time flies by when we are in that resonance field. But the singers, they sing this underlying song of the universe. Hopefully you can hear it, giving you goosebumps. But these are the great ones. Their wings span the multiverse in all directions, in all dimensions. And we've given them a plethora of names, whether it's angels, divas, gods, guardians, gatekeepers, I don't know. The singer of healing, though, healing of the body, the mind, the spirit, I would say even the soul. But the song of this singer has the power of healing our deep wounds, our soul wounds, deep wounds of the spirit, ones that can destroy mortals or immortals alike. Faith betrayed, love dishonored, trust abandoned, and other injuries of our spirit all inflict serious wounds of our heart space and ourselves, right? Which are reflected in our bodies through illnesses and injuries that we hang on to. So it's through the song of healing where we may restore, renew, rebirth, but only if the wounded one is prepared to forgive, release, let go, bring in the peace, streams of peace, grace, returning to love and compassion with those streams. And as always, with all gifts of spirit, healing is offered. It's never forced, and it's required. You have to be an active participant on our own part. So true healing must really take place on all levels at once, simultaneously, body, mind, spirit, and soul. So these levels are inextricably linked. It's like threading in a weave, a fabric of destiny. They're all one piece of this fabric. So we cannot expect to change one without changing the others because it creates a ripple. And our bodies do not do things on their own. It's all this choreography inside of us. So there's different links between different aspects of being that are very many complex, obscure, and yet the principle of healing them is just simplicity itself. Taking that breath and pause, we need only to let go of the things that are hurting us, weaving in some tapestry that's nurturing us with those kinds of things that are beneficial to who we are. So it's really simple, and yet oftentimes it's a difficult choreography, right? But the song of healing is present everywhere. It's like the other aspects of the great song of the universe, I guess. It's without limit, it's ecstasies. So healing often seems so complex as we dig our way through all of our blocks and resistances and all the old stuff, behaviors, patterns, all the things. But in the end, it's really just simply it's letting go and opening up to be in receivership. But being that the singer is also otherworldly, this is when illness of our body, spirit, mind, and so much more prevails. We feel disconnected from the great song of healing, just source connection. So the question we need to really ask ourselves is, deep on this, right? What feelings or ideas or beliefs am I holding on to that keep my wounds open and unhealed? They're done. They've served their purpose. Return them to sender. And also, what can I do to nurture myself and open up to the song of healing? Very inspirational there. So hang on, we're not done yet. I got one more. And then we got the loom to finish our day, the 30. And I'm not sure you noticed, but all the messages have a 0, sacred space, protection, boundaries around what we open up to and accept, the first card, trusting our heart, and now our boundaries around what we believe. You cannot make this up. But the loam is part of the fairy guides, the guardians. She's a gatekeeper. They devote their time and space and energy to directly guiding us, humans in human form, as we develop our gifts, our talents, our own natural innate magic. They really help us to become more of who we naturally, organically are, exploring the potentials, transcending those self-imposed limitations and fears, climbing out of holes that we kind of stepped ourselves in by ourselves, usually by misunderstanding and misusing our gifts and our talents and our potentials. So they believe that a sense of humor and poetry is a very necessary part of being fulfilled and being magical in our essence. But the loom, this is unconditional giving and receiving. It's like, are we ready to be in receivership? She is the loom in the same way that McGregor is the chief of the clan McGregor, which reminds me of going to Scotland or Ireland, all those cool videos, right? But the loom of all the looms, the loom is this charitable soul in the old sense, in the old ways of the word charity, which is loving and giving, unconditional. And she knows the joy of giving without expectation in return. So the gift of giving with no expectation, no conditions, no control. So from practicing this for ourselves, that's what we learn. There always is a return, even sometimes if it's just a subtle energy return, often from the least unexpected source. The universe likes to keep all the accounts, it's called soul capital, soul credit, up to date. And the loom's job is to encourage us to keep the credit score, the credit side of our cosmic accounts balanced by giving freely to do things that we know we can authentically. Doesn't take money to be valued. So we've been giving space on Earth, the sun, the stars, the entire galaxy, the moon, the elementals, trees, flowers, all the things, the harvest, the bounty, really, the multitude of friends, creating a new tribe if you're me. But it's going to take a considerable amount of generosity to come into balance with all of these gifts that we've already received. Possibly we haven't even been grateful for, right? So when we fell out of balance in what we give and what we receive, we can have what's called constipation or diarrhea of the spirit. So it's spiritual constipation really does make us toxic, bloated, and unable to deal with more intake. We got to let go. So spiritual diarrhea makes up energetically, it's depletion, it's limp, it's needy, it's scarcity. So the spiritual forms of these particular malfunctions are entirely a result of our choices about balancing our giving and our receiving, opening up to receivership. I think a lot of people have issues with that. I think there's more givers in the world and takers, so there's an imbalance. So you may think that you have it right, but if things are not going well for you, then her energy suggests that we literally think and think again. So if you're pushing and pushing at something, it can often assist and help to just back off, relax about it, and allow the energy to just get into the flow, the peaceful waters of flow. However, at the same time that you back up from your efforts, the curious part is we put our energy into the universe elsewhere, then that energy just naturally has this frequency to flow back to us in the most appropriate and most generous form. So the universe always has to keep the balances in those energy frequencies. So just studying and looking at this picture here, if you can, the loom is still kind of bugging, if you will. She looks kind of passive. She's watchful. And I think she feels that this giving business needs a lot more explanation. We get confused in our choreography, but it's about being ready to do that sometimes without even expectations, like opening the door for a stranger at the grocery store or helping somebody get their cart to their car, or just small things, doing small things when they're needed. And even if you can take a little pinch of fairy dust, putting it in the right place, that works wonders, galactic wonders. But big clouds of fairy dust just makes everybody sneeze, and that's so true. That's a blessing from the ancestor realm. Sneezes, that just shows they're here, kind of like goosebumps, connection to spirit. So sometimes just a little bit of helpfulness now kind of prevents a big need for it later. Sometimes a big thing is needed right from the beginning, but it's about the balancing. But being that she is not otherworldly, if you're stuck or blocked in a situation, she's turned up. So we probably need to stop focusing on what we're trying to accomplish, taking a breath and a pause, and simply start giving freely to others. Do it unconditionally and do it with generosity. Just trying a new random acts of kindness. All that wood is kindness. Peace is the waters. Peace in the waters, joy, unconditionally doing all this, of course. So maybe we volunteer today. Maybe we'd go shovel the neighbor's snow. Just take somebody some homemade soup or something, some flowers. Just give somebody some flowers anonymously. assisting people that we don't even know. Just some ideas, right? You could help a coworker just because they need some assistance. Help somebody scrub their house. I don't know. Go to a needy stranger, whether you think they deserve it or not. There's all kinds of opportunities that we could do to assist people without anything in return. Just do it because we can. Giving more than we think we can afford, and then go a little further than possibly we think we can. Emptying our wallets, cleaning out our purses. My mom used to let me do that. I loved cleaning out her purse because I got to keep all her change. It was awesome. And in doing so, it just fills up our cup a lot more than we may expect. But it's just the knowing that the universe is really taking care of everything, and to go ahead and enjoy our earthly day. I literally have a card on my fridge that says that, just says, "Good morning. This is God. Go ahead and enjoy your day, and I'm going to take care of all your problems," or something like that. But I would affirm that I am blessed, knowing that the future I belong in is happening, and just holding that line of faith. Future aligned integrity to hold space for. The moon's in the season of Sagittarius, so you may feel adventurous and flirty with Venus at 22 degrees, where we belong with spirit. And are you feeling that spiritual love, kind of transitioning into that tribe? It really is a day to connect to where we belong and what realms we are intuiting. So with that, I would kind of fill into your own happy love of yourself day. Spiritual love is what I'm feeling. Do what lights your heart up, and then share that light upon others. Feeling spirit on the inside, giving you goosebumps. Flex that erector pili muscle, feeling spirit outside of us. We're kind of getting inducted into where we belong, ascending to this space with spirit. Feels a little like we're morphing. Just saying, I'm in the spins. So thanks for tuning in, and I will see you on the other side. Blessings.
So those are examples of, some things that I do teach very practically. And I obviously go into more detail in the book, as I do with lucid dreaming.
Well, you could kind of be in a waking dream state while you're in the shower.
In a way, because that's how I sort of experience it all. One other thing you maybe touched on lately, and I'll go back to, and it's a deep one, which is, the why question. Not simply how are we here, as I say, coming out of the source of imagination, but why? So if in some ultimate way, as we believe in many different fields now, in physics, I repeat, but most of the religions, the indigenous teachings, and many other things, which I don't want to overly complicate things, that there's a truer reality that's available to all of us. And that, again, is when you go into this oneness of the honest, this source consciousness, which some people would call God consciousness. So go back to the why question. So if this is all coming from God's mind, so to speak, I'm using that word roughly when I say it that way, why?